Good morning and welcome to this episode of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Jak Teel, the Parks and Recreation Manager with the City of Cottonwood. And today I'm joined by two of my favorite people. We've got Joshua Frewin, our Recreation Coordinator for aquatics now and special events, so we'll get into that here in a little bit. And we're joined by Kayla Mack, who is our Recreation Coordinator too over youth programs. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're going to be talking about a couple things today, guys. First, we're going to talk about the Recreation Center. We are finally back and reopen, 25% capacity, but we've got some things going on over there. Then later we'll get into some of the programs we've got going on for the public through Parks and Recreation, and then what we're doing with our youth programming. So we've got a lot scheduled to talk about today, and we'll go ahead and we'll begin with the Recreation Center. So we were able to reopen last Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
And so we were closed for a while. We had gone through that stage where we reopened in May. We had about a month and a half at it, and then we were shut down again, and then recently reopened. Talk about a little bit of that process. What did we have to go through to get that building back up and going?
Yeah, so really it's up to the governor's guidelines that he's given out in the health department for what we can do for the reopening. So we're taking the necessary precautions that we have people cleaning, constantly going over the equipment every 30 minutes and the treadmills and all of the weight room and equipment and that type of stuff. And then we have to follow the gym guidelines as well, which are people wearing a mask while they're in the building, doing temperature checks and everything like that to keep people safe, staying at our 25% capacity and things like that. But it's great to be back open, and we've had a great turnout of people so far that love to be back and have missed the gym.
Yeah, it's going really well. I'm pretty happy with the turnout so far. We did see some good numbers the first day we opened, and then we're back up to about 155 people a day. And although that may not seem like a lot, that's a lot if you have to clean up those weights after every single use and clean the machines and everything else. When we start looking at where our capacity was at under normal operations, we were at 700 to 800 people a day. So I'm glad we're not having to clean the equipment at that capacity. We'd all lose our minds. But the 150 people a day I think is great, and we put a lot of work in to get here. Kayla, what were some of the things that we had to do during the closure, some of the cleaning strategies we had to come up with?
Yeah, during the closure, we really made sure to clean all of our floors, and then we bleached down all the equipment again. And then some of the things we're currently updating all of our signage to make sure that it's always clear and concise to read to our guests. And then for the locker rooms, we zip tied some of them off, so we only had 6 per locker room. And we always provided all of the napkins. We made sure we were up to date on all those, and all the bottles were filled and everything like that.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot we had to go through, and people are constantly asking us why we have to go through these mandates and when are we going to be able to move back towards how it used to be. And we try to educate everybody all the time that these aren't our guidelines. Although we're responsible for following them, we're not the ones who set these guidelines. It wasn't our local government, it isn't our local administration. These are things set out by the state health department. It's a little nerve-wracking for me because my name is on that esthetician form, but so it's super important we follow these because we're not the ones setting these regulations, it's the state. And they have an auditor who can come through at any point in time and audit our processes and our procedures. So what are things we do to help make sure that we're following those at all points in the day, I guess? We've got a lot of part-time staff out there. What have we done to educate them on the reason why behind the what we are doing?
Definitely. Our big emphasis with our part-time staff was informing them of why we have to do this and the importance of it. Because truth is, if we don't follow these things and someone was to come in, we could realistically get shut down again for another few months. Or gyms as a whole shut down again for a few months, and no one wants to see that. So informing our part-time staff of that, informing the patrons that come in of that possibility that this is why we have to do it, as well as keeping everyone safe and healthy. And we've had a pretty positive response with people understanding once we were able to educate them through that.
Yeah, I think we've done really well in the educational aspect of things. I think we've gone above and beyond what that standard is as far as informing people. We have it out there on our website. You can go to cottonwoodaz.gov under the Parks and Recreation tab, and you'll see our FAQ, our frequently asked questions file there, and you can see what our requirements are, what you as a patron are going to need to do to use the facility, and what we're doing to be proactive in these things. We've changed a lot of our cleaning measures. Under the last closure, we were using a simple green product or a pure green product, and when they'd spray that would leave the floor white.
Yes.
So we're learning from experience this time. We don't have to come up with all these strategies on the fly as we did last time. We get to start from experience, not start from scratch. So we've changed our products now to use the same style of cleaner, but it doesn't leave that white residue on the floor, which makes the gym feel a little better. It smells a little bit more like a cleaning product, so it's more reassurance than what we were prior using. And then the lockers, that's a new one this time. Under the last set of regulations, we didn't have to control the locker room as strictly. We had to ensure for social distancing and things like that, but this time they mandate that you have to close off all the lockers that aren't for use and specify specific ones. And when that came out, I remember the three of us were sitting there looking, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do? And then talking to Lisa and gave her the issue, and in a millisecond she solved our problem. Yep. So how much time did it take us to go through and lock all those lockers off, and what did we come up? How did we come up with that strategy, and what did we do, Kayla?
Yeah, we ended up like zip tying all of them, which Lisa came up with, and then we made all of our signage and we duct taped it, and it just said, make sure you sanitize before you use it, and then once you leave, sanitize it again, and we have all the equipment there, so it's easy and ready to use. And
they're no longer for day use anymore, right? Right now we have to make sure everybody's pulling their equipment out after each use.
Yes. Yep, definitely. So that's really helped flow, keep out the traffic in there.
Awesome. Well, I know this team and the rest of our team back in the department has done a really good job of keeping up on it. Before we go into our next break, though, what do you think has been the hardest part of this reopening, aside from the uncertainty of open, close, open, close? What are some of the hardest things we're dealing with right now as a team back there?
I think one of the hardest things is, and it's part of the mandate and part of keeping people safe, but just having the requirement for masks and just the education portion of that and why we have to do it, and just kind of the general compliance with that. So far it's been pretty good. Of course there's the outliers that don't want to wear the masks and have found other ways to work out during this time, but that's kind of been the biggest struggle, and it is a tough issue to have to wear a mask when you're in the gym, but a lot of people have made do with it and it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we have seen people have started to come around to and understand the need for it. It doesn't stop those people not liking it, but at least the majority of the people understand, and they're willing to meet us halfway in keeping that there. Yeah. So we've discussed now about what we've done at the Recreation Center to reopen. Things are going great. It's a happy, healthy facility. We hope to see everybody there. We're going to go ahead and take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to start getting into what we're doing on the programming side, some of the programs we've got coming up. So again, I'm your host, Jak Teel. Thank you for joining us on this section of Inside Cottonwood.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.org.
Welcome back to this episode of Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Jak Teel, and today I'm joined by Kayla, Mack, and Josh Frewin, some of our Recreation Coordinator 2s from Parks and Rec. And we had previously talked about the Recreation Center, which is one side of what our department does. Not everybody always realizes, though, that there's another side of Parks and Recreation, and that's the programming, the outside, the engagement aspect of it. So we're going to be talking a little bit about some of those programs we've got coming up. And Josh, cue us up. What do we got going on the programming side?
Yeah, we got a lot going on. fun still. Our biggest thing is our outdoor pool. The Cottonwood Aquatic Center, that's the outdoor pool at the Recreation Center, has been open and still is open for the past couple months. It's open for lap swim, and we have water aerobics classes that are going on. So what we're doing, Monday through Friday, we have the lap swimming that's available from 10:30 in the morning until it's up till 11, and then we have a water aerobic class from 11 to noon. Then we have lap swimming again till 3, and then 5 to 7 is also lap swimming, with Mingus swim team doing a practice in there from 3 to 5. So we've broken that down into half-hour blocks, so you can call the Recreation Center that morning at beginning at 8 a.m., reserve your half-hour lap lane, come in, swim, enjoy it, and then we have still doing the same safety protocol type things of wearing a mask while you enter the facility. Then you can take it off while you're swimming, obviously. Swim in your own private lap lane, and then we have a separate exit for you to go out of, and had a lot of people using it. It's been quite busy, and it's been a great turnout.
Yeah, and one of the things we've had to do over there in the locker rooms is we haven't been able to offer those locker rooms because there isn't appropriate social distancing methods in that area, right? So if you come to the pool, which obviously we want you to, I've been making good use of it. I've been swimming at least every other day this week, so trying to get in there. But if you come, you have to make sure you're dressed out prior to getting there. Make sure you're already washed off, and all those different debris that we normally carry through us, our shampoos, our lotions, our fragrances, all those we wash off prior to getting into the pool. So that way we can maintain that health and that health aspect of that pool there. And you talked about the pool. So when did you start getting involved in the pool? You've always been sports and special events.
Yeah, so I just took over the pool part of it last Monday. So it's been not even 2 weeks yet. So I'm still learning and figuring things out and learning all the lifeguards' names. We have a great staff, but a lot of names to learn. But it's going very well so far.
Good, I'm glad. And I think you're the right fit for it. I think you'll do an excellent job out there, and the lifeguards seem to like you already. So we've talked about the pool, we've talked about group exercise classes out there, and we're pretty excited to get the Mingus Union High School swim team back in there.
Definitely.
But what other programs do we have going on or coming up that people can get involved in?
Sure. So we also, maybe not many people know, back in March and April we resurfaced the tennis and pickleball courts, got new lines, new surface, filled in the cracks, all of that, the outdoor courts right outside the Recreation Center, and they look great. So we have lots of people out there playing tennis and pickleball, especially in the morning and evening times during the summer, as it's still been quite warm. But that was great timing to have those done, especially while the gym was closed on, for the COVID lockdown time. So it's been well utilized. If you want to come out, play tennis, pickleball, whatever your sport of choice is out there, it's been popular and lots of people having fun with it.
Yeah, I think that's been a fantastic amenity for our community. Typically at the Recreation Center, you'd go in there from 8 to noon, and that gymnasium is just packed with pickleball players. So having those 8 outdoor courts, or 12 outdoor courts rather, that we have for pickleball, and the 3 tennis courts we have been huge for our community and that user base out there. It still gives them something to do, and what a great way to beat the heat. You get out there early, get your exercise in, and then you get a coast the rest of the day. God, I love it.
Absolutely.
So there's something else we've got up coming on the books. Outside and Safe, that's what we're going with?
Yeah, so we have another program that we're starting called Outside and Safe. So our idea for it is that we are going to have kind of local experts on different things. As you can see the flyer up on your screen now, whether it's hiking, fishing, kayaking, golf, disc golf, community gardening, things like that. We're going to have local people kind of teach us or a family or beginners how to do that, and different safety that you should follow while you're doing those things, or stuff like how to tie the hook on the fishing line, how to cast, what to do when you've caught the fish, different things like that. So we'll have the flyer that you see up there now that has the QR code, and that'll be at the location. So for example, for the golf course, when you come up to the driving range at the Agave Highlands golf course, you can scan that QR code, and we'll have Emmanuel, who's a golf professional, teaching you some different tips and what you need to get started, how you can get the clubs from them, and then some different stance, putting, driving, the right way to do things. So that's a program we're looking forward to, and we'll also have that on our Parks and Recreation Facebook and web page as well on there for people.
Yeah, I know I, for one, am really excited about that program. I'm always really excited when we get to partner with people in our area. Not only does it help drive that economic side of things that Parks and Recreation tries to be involved in, but it really helps when you have professionals teaching these things rather than me out there trying to teach you how to fish. I'd probably squeal if I had to pick up that fish myself. So I'm glad somebody else will be teaching us how to do that,
Yes.
how to remove those hooks. And then we've got hiking. We're going to talk about what you need to go hiking, maybe some trails we have here locally that you
Definitely.
can go out and explore, and most importantly, how to be safe when you do these activities. When Josh and I were talking about this, I brought up one of the movies where a gentleman went out hiking and did not tell anybody where he was going. Then he ends up getting trapped and has a long way home from that. So it's
Yes.
always important you follow the safety aspects of these things when we're doing it. Out of the outside and safe videos, what one are you most looking forward to?
I think I'm looking forward to the kayaking one. I think that'll be fun. We're partnering with Dead Horse Ranch State Park on that one, and be fun to get out on the kayaks and shoot a video showing us some tips and different types of kayaks and how to have fun time doing that out at the lagoons at Dead Horse. So that'll be a fun one.
Kayla, do you have one you're most interested in?
Yeah, I mean kayaking also as well, but also too hiking. I really enjoy hiking, so I think it would be cool to get it from more of like a professional mindset and see if there's any trails I'm unaware of or anything like that.
And you've got a cool little pooch you can bring with you on these hikes, huh?
Yep.
You asked
So
him
he'll
what his
love it.
favorite one is yet?
Yeah, anything that he can climb.
Yeah, there you go. So we've got a lot of great opportunities coming up, and we've got some more on the youth side we're going to talk about. But when we start getting into the programs that we have long term, what do we have coming up here maybe later this year people can start looking out for?
Sure. So we'll have our youth basketball program coming up again this winter. We usually have registration open kind of late October, early November. Get started with that. It's kids in kindergarten through 5th grade, and we get a great turnout. Gyms are packed at the recreation center with games throughout the winter time, and do some games at Mingus High School, halftime of the varsity games, things like that. That's a great experience for the kids, and always have a great turnout and lots of fun with that one.
Yeah, it's certainly something that we're going to continue to try to provide this year. Of course, we got to work within the confines of what we're able to offer, but youth basketball and our youth sports are something we're really big on in Parks and Recreation. So currently we're working with AYSO to make sure we can provide an opportunity for those kids to go out and play soccer. We were able to work with Verde Valley Little League earlier this year to let them run their Little League season this year. It was expedited, it was shorter. They had to stick to some high restrictions, but all in all it went really well, and I think people enjoyed it, and I think making sure our youth have things to do in this community is huge, and it's something that under my direction with Parks and Recreation we've always focused on and will continue to focus on. Some of those other programs we've got coming up, provided we're able to have larger group sizes and things like that, are Walking on Main. That's scheduled for November 14th this year. Originally we had plans for a big blowout to celebrate the City of Cottonwood's 60th anniversary. We might have to draw some of that back in if those group sizes don't come up. But all in all, we're still planning on that. We're looking at what we can do with our Fall Carnival program currently. I know Kayla was reaching out to see if what our opportunity for our haunted house is this year and if that's going to be doable. So those are still things we're exploring. And as we start talking more youth programs in the next segment, we'll get into some of those other fun things Kayla's got going on and some of the partnerships we're going on. But Josh, back to the outside and safe real quickly. Who else are we partnering with? Who are the authority figures on these programs we're doing?
So for a lot of them, for the hiking, fishing, kayaking, we're partnering with Dead Horse Ranch State Park. George Christensen is kind of the head ranger there, I guess, would be his title, and he and some of the other park rangers there are going to help us teach those things, since they're really the experts on the fishing, kayaking, hiking, and know that area so well. Emmanuel at the Agave Highlands Golf Course is going to do that, and then we're going to partner with some others for the disc golf and the community
for disc
garden
golf,
type
we
thing.
have Steve Bankson lined up. And he and his family are phenomenal disc golfers, and I think one of them might even be like a junior grand champion or something like that. Not to brag, but you know, they're pretty good. So we've got a lot of really great things lined up in that program. Thank you for talking to us about it. And in this next segment coming up here in a minute, we're going to be chatting with Kayla Mack about some of our youth programs we've got coming up. So make sure you join us back here in a couple of minutes, and we'll see you soon.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.org.
Welcome back, Cottonwood, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Inside Cottonwood. So far, we've talked about the reopening of the Recreation Center, what we've had to do there. We've explored some of the Parks and Recreation programs we've got going on. And now we're going to transition this last section into our youth programs. One of my favorite things to discuss, what we're doing with the youth. So Kayla, we've got a couple things lined up we've been working on. What has Parks and Recreation been doing to stay busy and active and engaged with our youth community?
Yeah, well, currently we've been doing story walks, which we went to Cottonwood Community Schools track and Dr. Daniel Bright track. We're also looking to expand to the hospital. What we've been doing is making sure we get easy level reading books. We print them out and we put them on little stakes, and we have them all separated equal amount around the track so you can read. And it was really cool because when we were out there putting those up, a lot of patrons stopped and asked and thought that was a great idea. And it was also cool because the school district then did it for their PE class. So you see our book in front, and then behind you see kind of like a different color sheet saying push-ups and everything, crawl to the next one. So I thought that was great because too, they're probably incorporating our program in that as well.
Absolutely. So when we start talking about Parks and Recreation, our role in programming, that's exactly what we want. Parks and Recreation does not need to do every program. We want to partner to help these other programs and to supplement their programs, to enhance their programs in many ways. So our story walks around those school tracks are phenomenal. I enjoy them. When we started talking about the idea, I just came in and I sat down in your guys' office and said, listen up. I have this idea, but I have no idea how we're going to do it. And then you guys pulled it off, and I think it's phenomenal. We spent a lot of time, you guys spent a lot of time laminating those flyers and getting them out. So when we talk about those, we just have them out on wood stakes out there around the tracks, correct? So what do we have to do to keep those up and make sure that they're still in good condition?
Yeah, Josh and I make sure we go at least every 2 days to walk all the tracks to see. We bring a little hammer and then a staple gun and extra stakes in case anything happened. Also, too, it was really nice because at the Dr. Daniel Bright School, the fence is up there. So we just zip tied a lot on the way. So those really helped from not falling down. And luckily, though, with the covering over it, the rain hasn't damaged them at all. So that's really helped us out.
That's awesome. I know when I had walked it with you guys one time, we had placed them where the sprinkler system wasn't on. Yeah. We went to walk the track the next day. Well, the sprinkler system was going, and one of them was right in the line of fire of that sprinkler system. But the laminations held up really good, and they've held up in the rain. So overall, I think that program is doing a really good job. And where are our opportunities to grow that? I know you said we're working with the hospital. That's something we're trying to do, is get in on their walking track. What are some other areas in the area that we're looking at possibly expanding these? Isn't there something behind the library that maybe we've talked about?
Yeah, the library has their little walking track, which works out perfectly because we're also working with the library with this program. So that also is another partnership that we created. So they're always, and on our flyer too, we make sure to say check out books at the library as well. So I think that was a great way because they offer so many youth amenities for their kids and their summer reading programs.
Yeah, and working with Ryan Bigelow, the library director, and his team over there, specifically Jan Mark up in the teen zone, they're always a fun group to partner with. Anything we do, if you haven't got a chance to watch some of Jan's videos, I saw that they were just drawing the ABCs the other day. What a phenomenal talent that guy is for the city of Cottonwood. So happy to have him on board. And Ryan's done a great job in the library. Miss him in Parks and Rec, but he's done a great job over there as well. So happy to partner with them on those. And speaking of partnerships, we partner with Cottonwood-Oak Creek School District a lot to make sure that we're providing for our youth. What are we doing right now with them? I know we've got something big in the works with them.
Yeah, currently they're hosting for their families. So those families who are working or need the help, have separate classrooms. So their staff, along with our staff, is helping provide kind of like schoolwork and play. So they do rotations throughout the day. And you only have groups of 10, so you make sure you don't have as much physical distancing with all those other groups. So kind of what they do is in the morning, they do their reading time online. And then after that, they have their PE classes. So I can go anywhere from the gym or outside at the tracks doing what we just talked about. And then they have their lunch breaks. And then they also have another section where they do their math. And then they go back to kind of free play and crafts I saw too, what we were all doing. And then at the end, we have a movie where we come together. Yeah, and I got the experience going there yesterday. And the kids all seemed great because they all are grouped by siblings too. So everyone was really live, energetic. Seemed like they were great to be back in the classroom with all of one another. So it's kind of an easy going in transition, getting back to normalcy.
That's awesome. It sounds like a really good program. I have not been able to go over and get involved. The way that one happened too, and I know my mouth gets this group into a lot of trouble sometimes, because I receive phone calls. I'm like, hey, can you help? And I always try to find the yes. I always try to say yes to these things, but it's not me who pulls them off. It's always you guys who pull them off, and I can't state how much I appreciate you guys always cashing the checks that my mouth tends to write. So thank you guys. But what did we have to do to be able to help in this program? I know we pulled it together last minute to make sure we can do it.
Yeah, we just had to make sure all of our staff were able to go help them over there, because the program is run from 8 in the morning until 3. So we just really reached out to all of them, and then we also explained the procedures of all the cleaning equipment in the classrooms, that you did it before and after everyone left.
That's great. And then we always ensure that, of course, they're still our employees, so they have to meet our standard of care and our standard of delivery. So that's the mask mandates, that's the checking your temperature every day when you come in, and all those different types of things. So we can't overstate enough how fun it is for us to partner with the Cottonwood-Oak Creek School District and Mr. King and CCSD and our COCSD, both schools, both DDB, both Cottonwood Community School, their principals and their faculty over there. We really enjoy working with them, and any opportunity we get, we try to take advantage of it. So as we wrap up today's episode, guys, you know what Parks and Recreation means to me. We create opportunities to engage our community, involving the youth, emphasis on youth sports, youth programs, while making sure we're offering and providing some opportunities for adults. But working in Parks and Recreation, just real quickly, what are some of your guys' favorite things that we get to do?
Probably one of my favorite things is, like you had said, the emphasis on engaging the youth. I love working with the kids, whether it's in youth sports or whether it will be in aquatics, doing the swim lessons and things like that. I think it's so important for them to be able to have those things to get out and do, and it can ultimately guide them to finding what they want to do with their lives and careers and what passions they want to pursue. And so I think that's one of my favorite, is working with the kids in that area.
Some of your ex-teacher experience is coming out there, Josh. Kayla, what about you?
Right, it's really getting involved and making all those positive connections. Because during our, after our first closure, I really got to work at the rec center. So making all of those connections with all those people I didn't get to, and at events, and with all the youth and all their parents. So I really enjoy doing that. And then also just all of our programs we hold. I think we offer a vast majority of programs, and it's really fun being involved planning and seeing the outcome of those and getting people excited for it. Because for the haunted house, that was my first year doing it, and really getting about 550 people in one night was amazing, I thought.
Parks and Recreation it's an absolute amazing place to work, and we have a couple of job openings coming up. We're filling a position for sports and fitness currently, and then we'll be having another opportunity to join our administrative team within Parks and Recreation coming open. So if you're interested in being a part of our team, knowing what we do, knowing that we're creating opportunities for engagement with our community, we're youth driven, our atmosphere is fun. We've got a phenomenal culture at work, and we like to joke around. And if you're interested in it, make sure you visit cottonwoodaz.gov, go to the human resource tab where you'll see all the employment opportunities, and we'd love to see you join part of our team. This has been fun. This is a great episode of Inside Cottonwood. We hope to be able to do this again. And if Cottonwood needs anything from its Parks and Recreation Department, feel free to get a hold of me and we will do our absolute best. Thank you for joining this section of Inside Cottonwood. I'm Jak Teel, your Parks and Recreation Manager with the City of Cottonwood.